You may please start, Preeti.
Good morning, everyone. This is the inauguration ceremony of our UEM Jaipur ACM Coding Club. For the efforts of our team members and for the support of our faculty teachers to establish our club successfully. So this is the day. So now I request our Honorable Vice Chancellor Sir, Professor Dr. Vishwajay Chatterjee Sir, to speak something.
Okay, so thank you to the entire set of students under this SEM chapter, SEM student chapter of the University of Engineering and Management, UEM Jaipur, for taking the initiative to inaugurate a separate club or to form a separate club under this SEM chapter, through which we can function for organizing events related to coding, organizing more coding challenges. As we all know that nowadays programming is an important thing or important skill for everybody, be it a civil engineer, be it a mechanical engineer, be it an MBA graduate. For everybody, coding is a required skill. So I really believe that through this coding club, our students, all our students, will be more exposed to the coding challenges and they will perform better in coding, and in future will be doing better for themselves. So I'm thankful to the students for taking this initiative. I'm thankful to Professor Rupayan, Professor Shobhik, Professor Mrinal, all other HODs, Dean of the University, Registrar of the University, and everybody else. I'm thankful for taking the initiative for forming this coding club. Thanks to you all. So now I will request Preeti to take over. I think that is enough. We should now start with the inauguration of the coding club.
Thank you, sir. Your words are really meant to us. Now I request our Honorable HOD Sir, Professor Dr. Mrinal Kanti Shoka Sir, to speak something about the Department of CSE.
Good morning, Vice Chancellor Sir, Dean Sir, Registrar Sir, and all HODs and my dear students. Okay, so formally we are going to inaugurate our another coding club, ACM Students Coding Club. Okay, so the main of this coding club, we can say, to increase the coding literacy among the students and also to create logical thinking among engineering students, to develop coding skills for the campus placement. So nowadays coding is very, very important, but few students are there who are literally afraid regarding this one, how they will go for coding. So my request to all students, please join this club and learn the coding, how to code. Okay, so some students are there who are like coding phobia is there, so don't worry about this one. The main of this coding club to regularly will conduct coding competition, national, international, as well as workshops on different coding. Okay, so by this I want to thanks to my all students, Dean Sir, Registrar Sir, and VC Sir. Thank you. Thank you. You please. Okay.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Now I request to Professor Rupayan Das Sir to speak few words.
Thank you, Preeti. A very good morning to all the attendees. Yes, our ACM Coding Club is very great initiative taken by our students. And yes, it is also true that nowadays coding is very essential for the engineering career. But unfortunately, still many students are not aware about the coding and importance of the coding. So I believe all the students will come forward and involve themselves into various activities related to coding. So I wish all the best to our coding club. Thanks.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Now I request to Professor Shobhik Paul Sir to speak few words.
Good morning, all. First of all, I would like to congratulate all the members of the club. You guys are really doing very well, and it's a very good initiative that you have taken. Actually, every year we are organizing coding competition at international level. First one is UEM Code Mania as well as UEM Code Storm. So this year also we will organize it. Very soon the date will be published. So you guys are working very hard on it. I really appreciate all your effort. So I hope all the students will get benefited from the club. Wish you all the very best. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Now, I request Anurag Chatterjee to start his presentation about UEM Jaipur ACM Coding Club. Anurag, please start.
Thanks, Preeti. I appreciate your introduction. But sir, please allow me to present my screen. Yeah. So I hope it is visible.
Yes, it is visible, Anurag. Please continue. It is visible.
Okay. Thank you. So at front page, we can see that logo of our newly established club, UEM Jaipur ACM Coding Club. So now I would like to introduce our team members. So first, I would like to introduce Somadip Mitra. He is the community chairperson. Next, Shubham Gorisaria. He is the president of our club. Next, Preeti Datta. She is the vice president of our club. Next, Sayantan Sinha Roy. He is the mentor. Next, Kunal Saha. He is also the mentor. And at last, I am Anurag Chatterjee. I am the founder of the club. Now, what is the motto of our club? As we know that in today's
Hello,
Anurag, are you there?
Anurag, are you there?
Sorry, it's maybe network issue.
Priti, can you continue with this one?
Yes, sir. If
Okay,
the network
so
issue, I can. Okay. Sorry everyone for the network issue.
So I think like you can see from the screen, it's a coding club where we will where the students will organize hackathons and other things. Like the ACM coding club will consist of all these things. As you can see, competitive coding, opportunity to learn different coding languages like Python, Java, C++, Kotlin, and many more. And competitive coding by participating in hackathons like Hacker Rank, Hacker Art, Code Chef. Okay, so ACM is Association for Computing Machinery, as you all know. And ACM Student Chapter is actually engaging members through talks by local practitioners, visits from prominent speakers, etc. ACM, in fact, is the biggest it is the biggest organization for computer. It is the US-based international society. Purpose of ACM is it strengthens the computing profession's collective voice through strong leadership, promotion of the highest standards, and recognition of technical excellence. It supports professional growth of its members by providing opportunities for lifelong learning, career development, etc. Okay, so thank you, Anurag. Your voice was not audible, but yes, it was the presentation was good. So Preeti, you may kindly take over again.
I request all the UEM members to join the club. And now, finally, I would like to invite Mr. Shohan Banerjee, founder.
So I don't know why, but internet is an issue for everybody today. Preeti, you are muted. Preeti, are you there?
Sir, I'm here.
Okay, so kindly continue.
So I request all the UEMs to please join our club to know more about coding. So thank you, Anurag. Thank you, sir. And now finally, I invited Mr. Yes, sir. So now I invited Mr. Shoham Banerjee, founder and managing partner of Renderbit Technologies, to start his session.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, sir, for your kind words of introduction earlier. And very good morning to all present here. Thank you for taking time out of your Saturday morning and being here. It is lovely to be a part of this wonderful initiative and share my 2 cents from my time as a journey of a student of IEM Kolkata to building my startup in the early stages and where we are today, and trying to correlate how coding and programming in the context of software development fits into the broader industry at large. So as we start off with just a couple of points, in case I am inaudible or my screen share pauses, it would be great if someone could point it out to me. And from my time back as a college student, I used to remember that there used to be a lovely correlation between the shortness of the speaker's speech and how highly the students would rate it. So with that hard-won piece of wisdom in mind, I would like to keep my presentation very short and move over to some discussion and Q&A with students if there is some time possible for that. So shall I start?
Please go ahead.
Thank you. So after the introduction by Vishwa sir, I believe there is nothing further which I can add. I am an IIM Kolkata alumnus. I'm the founder and managing partner at Renderbit Technologies. But today we are here to talk about programming or coding. So some of us start coding either directly in college. Some of us have some very basic coding experience back from our school days. And when we talk about coding as an abstract concept, the problem statements that we have to do come to this is a very common school level problem statement that comes to mind, a pattern printing or identification of patterns in code. This is something that possibly all of us have done at some point in our career, but what becomes a challenge, especially for students at an early level, is to try as they move on to higher education, such as in say college, how would this relate to a real world use case? What could be a practical use case for this? And to answer that, let me take a roundabout example. So we've all seen problem statements like this, say at a college competency level, say where we talk about longest common subsequence in 2 strings. So where we have 2 strings A, B, C, D, G, H and A, E, D, F, H, R. So the longest common subsequence would be A, D, H between both of them, and so on and so forth. This is something that we've seen typically at placement interviews and again taught at a college competency level in CS. To find a real world correlation of this trivially is also not very evident. But then let us look at a completely different use case. So DNA sequencing or genome sequencing. So DNA is basically a and word of context here, I'm not a biology major, so I'll try to keep my explanation simple as possible. DNA is a long molecule that contains unique genetic code. It is primed by 4 protein bases, adenine, cytosine, guanine, and thymine, which are kind of represented as ACGT pairs. So when we look at long DNA strands, they're often coded as long sequences of ACGT, and for 2 different DNA strands, often we can find the similarity or the species similarity by looking at the common sequences of the DNA bases within the strands. Now, if we look at this problem statement and the one we saw earlier, do you see a similarity? So the very simple thing that we use, that we learn as a college level programming statement is finds use in genome research, and it is actually being used to check similarity between viral strains to gauge the relative efficiency of the various vaccines that are being deployed to combat the whole COVID situation today. So although sometimes the correlation is not trivially evident, we can rest assured that it is there. And that kind of brings me to one of my favorite sayings about the software industry and how coding plays a part in the broader tech ecosystem. Um, Mark Andreessen, one of the most famous Silicon Valley investors, had famously said, "Software is eating the world." What does that mean? As a practical point, software is transforming entire industries at scale. Today, the world's largest retail company is a software company. The world's largest media companies are software companies. The world's largest advertising agencies are software companies. Transportation has been upended by software. And if we look around us, we will see that these core transformations are not only happening in some far off marketplace, but a complete pervasion of our day-to-day activities where there is a software as a service offering for each and every sector of our day-to-day lives. It is very difficult for someone who is living in a metropolitan city, say, to go about their lives without having used at least one of these apps from time to time. And although we might underestimate the sheer degree to which we have been dependent on software enabled and software powered systems to run significant parts of our day-to-day lives, they form a critical backbone of that. So what has enabled that? Primarily, the biggest opportunity that enabled that is the mobile phones that we carry today are high powered computers. Not only do they have a significant amount of processing and storage, they come with novel sensors which were not available to the previous generation of computing devices, which were typically desk bound or lap bound. This include but not limited to touch interfaces, ambient sensors, personal information of the user, cameras and visualization devices, access to continuous location data, payment systems, integration with social networks, and a focus on security and privacy. This has led to an exponential growth in mobile users as opposed to desktop users. So if you look at the last decade, say 2010 to 2020, around 2016, there was an inflection point where the number of mobile users overtook the number of other computer users. This includes both desktop and laptop users. Now, this implosion of mobile technology has enabled use cases which we could not even dream of, say, going back 10 years. So today, a child growing up even in a remote village would have access to a smart computing device with a high-speed internet connection. Again, it's not very simple to visualize what the first order effect would be, but the second order effect of that in terms of access to services, access to knowledge, and bringing that child into the digital ecosystem, so to speak, and allowing that and providing more and more features and functionality to that new user who is coming on board the system will enable hundreds and thousands of use cases which we are not even able to envision now. So a great example that I love to give here is something like video streaming. Like we have, so recently the video streaming apps like Instagram stories and YouTube shorts and earlier in the days TikTok had taken off exponentially in India. However, streaming video from a tiny touchscreen mobile device breaks so many assumptions that we had earlier. Like earlier means not even like 10 years back, had to make about mobile devices. Like in 2010, we could not assume that a device would have a camera. We could not assume that a device would have a fast CPU or a GPU. We could never assume that the device would have a touch screen, would have a high bandwidth connection, battery capacity, or even that the device would be always on and portable. But streaming video defies all these assumptions and thrives in spite of that, and in a small span of less than a decade. So we can only envision how many such groundbreaking technologies will come to life and come to fruition in the decade to come. Am I audible so far?
Really audible and your screen is visible, no problem. So please continue. No network issues.
All right, thank you, sir. So moving forward, where do we go from here? We have barely begun to scratch the surface in terms of fully exploiting the digital revolution that has emanated from the explosion and growth of mobile and internet oriented services. The next generation of mobiles might bring true smart assistants with conversational artificial intelligence, who will not only be able to provide us information but will be able to do tasks on behalf of us as per our voice or spoken commands. 5G and the Internet of Things would bring connected transportation grids and connected smart homes, where our devices would intelligently sense what we would require and what functionality they can provide us, and would provide that to us without manual intervention. And these are again use cases where we are barely even scratching the surface. And this is the opportunity for software engineering today, that all these use cases will be software driven as opposed to hardware driven. So a certain well-known industrialist of our country, Mr. Ambani, had said in 2017 that data is the new oil. And from someone who had built a multi-billion-dollar empire on the basis of oil, the fact that he is elected to build the next generation of his empire on data speaks volumes. So that actually brings us to data science and machine learning, probably one of the most fascinating areas of computing where work is being done today, and where there are like millions of opportunities. A very trivial example would be image recognition and how machine learning has completely transformed that. Image recognition using feature coding, how it was done for nearly 50 years, from 1960s to 2010. Computer systems were not very great at recognizing objects in pictures. However, recognizing objects in pictures is trivial for humans. Machine learning, with its advent in 2012, changed all that. Suddenly, image recognition, which had close to a 30% error rate, dropped to around 7%. Speech recognition, which had an error rate of 1 in 4, dropped to less than 5%. The advent of machine learning literally transformed the new areas of human-computer interaction and opened the floodgates of new areas of applications of technology. So the key difference that we see in machine learning oriented systems is we are not building rule oriented systems. We are not building systems that look for and recognize features. We are not trying to program rules for, say, grammar and speech recognition. Because when we do feature detection or rule-based detection, we are trying to codify how human intelligence works to a computer, though ourselves we don't really know. Machine learning takes a different approach. So we feed a lot of binary data points, so pictures of, say, persons and pictures of other objects, to a data structure called a neural network, and let the network learn of what a person is and what a person isn't. And this is possible because currently we have about 1 million times more computing power and data than was presented even a decade ago. So once we have data analysis, not only can they trivially be applied to data sets like image recognition, but the same trained data sets can be used across industries. This is used to do user retention tracking in e-commerce industries. This is being used for self-driving cars. This is being used in automated cybersecurity, where machines can do the job of human analysts at a faster and better pace. So this has opened a significant amount of novel opportunities in enterprise. And I would like to speak a little bit more about this, because enterprise is the area where primarily where my startup Renderbit Technologies works. And this is where we have done also a lot of work. So I can, rather than coming with some anecdotes, I can come with some real world examples of use cases where we have worked. So so there was let me start by talking about a use case in process automation, where we worked with a shipping platform to enable ship owners and cargo owners from across the world to quickly and easily connect each other, contact, negotiate prices, and finalize a charter party contract without the need to physically access each other or physically verify the documents. We did this by using blockchain technology. By removing the physical paperwork, we reduced the time and costs of vessel chartering, and to increase transparency in the platform, we deployed sensor networks on board the vessel to track in real time the movement of cargo across the world. So again, this was such a use case would be unheard of a couple of decades ago. Now this is being commonly used in across a lot of sectors in enterprise. Moving on. So we built another process automation solution again for the shipping industry, where we did services and spare procurement for global transport fleets. So a vessel moving from, say, San Francisco to China, if it requires a spare part for some component, say the main engine, while the vessel is in transit, it might make sense to source it from a local vendor than to go back to its home port for repairs and servicing. However, the shipping company might not have the contacts to know local vendors in all parts of the world where the ship may go due to its voyage. Where we come in by connecting again the platform where we have suppliers and vendors and the fleet owners, eliminate the physical paperwork and connect both the counterparties so that they can get their services at cheaper cost and a much reduced time frame. We also centralize all communications and records keeping so that there is a central store of data for all the historical repairs that have done for a vessel. And this analysis on this data set leads to some fascinating insights where we can predict to the vessel owners when their vessels shall be needing another round of repairs using data science and machine learning. So apart even industries which are traditional manufacturing industries, we have worked to optimize the performance of conveyor belt driven systems and assembly lines by deploying sensor networks to get real-time data. So what often happens is when the conveyor belt, say, breaks down, or there is a stoppage or a blockage in any subsection of the conveyor belt, by the time the data is reached to all parts of the factory floor, and these factory floors are sometimes hundreds of meters extended, the other parts have continued their work, so there is a blockage. So just-in-time inventory is not kept in sync. So by eliminating the dependency on human intervention, using real-time monitoring with IoT sensors and automatically shutting off and starting production to keep in sync with various subcomponents, we can optimize the production process further and notify the key stakeholders in case there is any downtime or emergency activity. And all of this is happening in remote areas where there is no, say, wired or internet connectivity. But we are deploying mesh sensor networks, which are wireless mesh networks, to give connectivity to these areas. Again, a fascinating use case on use of IoT and connectivity. Another case study which we worked on, and this is one of my personal favorites, is where we used historical data for repairs of main engines machinery in vessels and large equipments. We monitored that for a duration of time using sensor networks, and taking and correlating that with historical data on when machines had to be repaired, either this particular equipment or similar equipment from the manufacturer used by other stakeholders in the industry. We can set up a complete predictive maintenance life cycle where we can predict that certain part in this certain machine would fail within, say, a 30-day time period. So this gives the factory owners and machinery operators a certain peace of mind that they would come to know of any prospective downtime even before the downtime has actually happened or actually chanced. So data science is used again. Computer vision systems can be used for anomaly detection. So in railway trains, what happens is often when the two bogies are coupled together, we see a vacuum link. Sometimes these vacuum links get decoupled from each other and the vacuum pipes dangle behind the train. This causes damage to the vacuum seal, and oftentimes the pipe needs to be replaced. We did a pilot project where we could detect whether a pipe is connected or dangling using the pre-existing cameras which had been deployed by the railways at the unmanned railway crossings. These data from these cameras were collated, sent to a central data warehouse where analytics algorithms could process them, analyze what they were seeing, and notify the key decision makers and the nearest railway station where the train would be next visiting, so that in case a decoupling has happened, immediately it is fixed at the next station instead of having to go days or weeks getting dragged behind the train before it is manually inspected and detected. So in the financial sector, which is again a sector which has been transformed to a huge extent by data science oriented inputs, in rural areas we've seen that people do not have a easy access to credit. This is because they do not have the traditional forms of credit histories, previous existing loan records, records of credit cards, so on and so forth, which makes established lenders apprehensive about lending them large sums of money. However, without access to credit, working capital requirements of say farmers or farm cooperatives is difficult to meet. This is where we can create, using big data, an alternative credit scoring for loan seekers. We use non-traditional financial data such as psychometric analysis of the loan seeker as well as behavioral economic patterns of the cohort of loan seekers to derive a per user based credit scoring model, and this is being currently used by large financial institutions to drive their lending process. So this is something that we have worked on as part of our fintech service as well, which is financial technology. So apart from talking of use cases, we believe that in the future more and more such opportunities and use cases, apart from the ones that just exist today and that one are the ones that are being serviced in the industry today, will be enabled by emerging technologies. And ability to recognize patterns in big data sets will be key to exploiting these opportunities. And this is where the prospect of creating a coding club is such a fascinating key insight to me, because I believe that can enable the UEM students of UEM Jaipur to have a leg up in terms of preparedness for the industry 4.0, as we are calling it, as compared to their counterparts from other colleges and from other regions. The idea is to make you in place for the new wave of technologies which will inevitably be coming, and the coding club can position you in a way that you have the necessary knowledge and wherewithal to exploit these opportunities, whether starting out in solving problems that solve new technology use cases, or working as part of existing corporates that are using these emerging technologies to solve use cases. So there are prospects in both the job segment as well as the entrepreneurship segment. So the future tech stack would require backend frameworks, where we have typically backend programming languages, something we call as the MVC frameworks, as well as database frameworks. We have front-end frameworks which actually build out the user-facing side of applications, and we'll require full stack frameworks which are used to deploy mobile applications, which are used to deploy both the backend and front end packaged and as a single application. And most importantly, we'll require data science tools that enable us to derive insights from raw data, see patterns from gigantic data sets, and use that to optimize processes and to create solutions for new business cases. So these technologies, although may look a little bit overwhelming, are kind of learned, can be learned in a very stepping stone approach. So the role of a coding club would be, in my opinion, to primarily build the community where the students have a central place to go for all of their learning to code, learning to apply where to code, and where they can utilize these skills of coding. This community aspect has to be key, because as we all know, learning does not happen in isolation. More importantly, the coding club can become a resource space where you can collect the knowledge of, say, your seniors who are well versed in coding. As you grow, you can create resources, tutorials, you can create question banks of sort of practice questions, say for interviews as well as for upcoming hackathons, so on and so forth. These will combine together to give you the unfair advantage that I was talking about earlier, the leg up in terms of your cohorts from other colleges and institutions. The learning path which can set you on this approach is typically could be going through competitive coding platforms where they teach you the concepts of data structures and algorithms and how to apply them to solve real world problems. There are online tutorial websites which have both written and both written tutorials as well as sample problem statements for you to practice on, as well as a plethora of library of video tutorials if you are more oriented towards audiovisual learning. And all of these can be made available to you. So I have also put together some resources which could be useful for you to get started. I would be happy to share these with the organizers and conveners of your club and make my slides also available to you at a later time if you find that interesting or useful. Although this all the use cases we talked of, all the talk of big data and emerging technologies, this may sound a bit overwhelming, but one thing that I can definitely say from my experience of starting my company while I was a third-year student of computer science at IEM Kolkata is you have to start by starting. Take the first small step and the next and the next, and sooner than you realize you will be solving real-world problem statements and picking up new skills that gives you new abilities and confidence. Thank you for being patient and bearing with me. I would love to answer any questions. Do we have time for Q&A?
Yes, we will have a little bit of Q&A definitely. So there is one question which I can immediately see in the questions box, where Devmallo Bhaumik is very keen to know about your experience while starting your startup. So if in short you can give the challenges you faced at least.
Sure. So starting a start, ours, so we started out as typically a web and mobile apps building platform for enterprises and other startups. We would build out the web technology platform for them.
Network issue.
Voice check. Can you hear me?
Yes, it is okay. It is okay now.
So
yes, now it's fine. Now it is fine. There was a glitch. Right? There was a little bit of glitch.
Right. So I'll repeat my last. So
yes, fine.
When we started Renderbit, and this was, I believe, in early 2015, we started out as a web and mobile app consultancy that would build out technology platforms for enterprises and corporates. So from there, we branched on to other platforms such as data science, such as machine learning, such as blockchain solutions, so on and so forth. The idea is to start in a very lean model, build up a couple of competencies that you have, create your USP in those areas as compared to what is being offered in the market. For us, we could offer a very quick turnaround time, and for us, we could offer a full stack solution when full stack solution was not prevalent. This was back in, I think, 2015. And leverage on this and continually keep upgrading your solution and value propositions, because that will enable you to grow to new skills and to expand to new market segments. But I must also acknowledge the great support that I received from my alma mater IEM group when starting out, from giving us our first office space to giving us our first access to clients. And as an early stage startup, getting access to clients in the industry is probably one of the hardest. They were an insane support to us. So Bishoya sir would probably I can only find very few words to thank Bishoya sir for his support of us all along. But does that answer your question?
Yes, it definitely answers your question, answers the question. And the same question was posted by Adarsh Singh only. Adarsh Singh also, what were the initial challenges, sir? So I think Adarsh, you have also got your answer. And Soham, I must say that like the capable people do not really need a support. What should I say? Like everybody is will automatically come to support you, because you can deliver the solution. It is very difficult nowadays to get the solution delivered. And believe me, I have been working with around maybe 100 companies, 100 people for this different support. So for the support system to work, I can only mention 3 or 4 who are actually like always ready with the support. For others, you'll have to run after. Anyway, so it automatically demarcates. Ayush Kumawat had a question, like if he wants to learn about starting a startup, like there are many issues, like there are legal steps, ethical steps. I'm just formulating his question. He has written in very short. I'm formulating his question. There are many steps, legal steps, ethical steps, many other steps. So if you want a resource to learn that how he will start his startup, is there any such resource available? If available, if you can mention a few.
Hi, Ayush. There are a couple of resources available. So the primary point to keep in mind is your competency when building a startup. You are from a, I believe, a tech background, so would be the technological side of things. You would not be very well versed in the financial and the legal side of things. So it is important to seek support in those areas. Acknowledge that you will not have the complete picture, and seek support for legal, finance, operations, the works, and because these are not your key competencies. I did not build the this slide deck for a very startup resource oriented way. I do have some links. I would be happy to share them with the coding club as well if you find this relevant. I can put them together. There are websites which can give you some templates for, say, hiring for new contracts. There are websites which will vet your legal templates for a one-time fee. And there are chartered accountancy services which will do things like company registration, company formation, so on and so forth, annual tax filing for a very nominal fee. So I can give you links to all of that. And if you have any specific question, I'd be most happy to answer that. You can drop me a mail and we can take this conversation offline.
Okay, so you can see the email ID. You can he has given you free hand to write him a mail. You can do that. Okay. So Sahitya has got a question. Sahitya Roy, sir, how to generate fund for initial days of startup? Now you have asked $1 million question, Sahitya. Like you are asking of something which, if you have, then you have everything. So yes, but still, Soham, your take, please, if possible.
Sure. There are two approaches to this, okay? And there are two schools of thought here. So I will start by saying that I'm possibly biased towards one approach. So so when you start your startup, you can either start it in a very lean model where you try to attain early profitability. So here you grow a little bit slower because you don't have a lot of money to spend out in the early stages, but you are profitable from a very early stage so that your dependency on external cash flow is very minimal. The second approach is that you try and raise funds, and this may be required for some certain specific amount of startup where, say, you have a large hardware investment or you need a large team to get off the ground. And this may be required from some specific problem statements. But for a lot of problem statements, you might be surprised at how little it costs to get a startup off the ground. So I personally and my co-founder Shreya is also on this webinar, I believe. So when we started out our company, I believe it cost us around less than 10,000 to just go through the first 3 months of operations. So it possibly is, depending on the idea that you have, it might cost way less than what you are envisioning as a startup, because some of the more well-known startups, the ones that get a lot of industry coverage, are the known for raising gigantic amount of funds, like the Paytm and the Olas and the Zomatos of the world, which raise huge amount of funding. But they are one side of the startup ecosystem. There are, for every large startup, funded startup that we hear about, there are hundreds of smaller ones who are doing equally well in their niche areas, who have a different approach, who are raising money from their own sales and business processes instead of going from investors. Because focusing too much on investor fundraise will actually slow down your technical development, especially in the early stage, because your team will be small and you can only do so many things well at a time. So I can go on in more detail on this, but I believe that would be a very different conversation. So I hope this answers your question, Sahitya.
Yes, Sahitya actually is a very, I should say, very enthusiastic gentleman, very enthusiastic student. He has just gone to his second year. He has just completed his first year, and just his days of second year has started. In the meantime, he is conducting many webinars. He is doing a lot of competitive coding in different platforms. So people like Sahitya, Anurag, Preeti, and others from first year, Shubham and others who are into competitive coding and doing good. I know many of them like Nayan and others. Many other people are there who are communicating with me. I will request you to kindly note down the email ID and seek help from him. I'm sure he is always open to help. He is actually mentoring many startups. Soham, after being very successful with his own startup, so he's mentoring many. I'm sure he will help you out. So you kindly note down his email ID. So Sonu Sharma has got a question, sir. Do you have any, like, if he wants to start a startup, though this question really does not, what should I say, should not have a distinct answer, I believe, but still I am posing the question for you. It is he's asking, like, do you suggest any domain where a startup can be successful? Like, you can understand this does not have a distinct answer, but still because he's a
So
student, I think it's worth answering that.
to give an accurate answer to your question would require the skills of prophesizing and being able to see the future, which I do not have. But I believe that, and this is my core belief, and this is where we are also working as well, that big data and machine learning will be key differentiators in the next decade to come. So any startup that touches on these ideas and solves a real world pain point, a real world problem statement, would have immense opportunities, because the total addressable market or the total addressable client base for technologies that can be enabled by big data or machine learning will only grow in the years to come. So this is both for consumer side and the enterprise side.
Yes. So definitely big data analytics, data science, artificial intelligence, and other fields will see the future, no doubt about it. Devdeep, I really don't understand your question. I'm very sorry. I can unmute you if you want to, but I really don't understand your question. I have unmuted you. If you would like to unmute yourself and ask the question, you can go ahead, because you have written, can you share your roadmap in short to data structure, algorithm, and competitive programming? If you can make out this question, Soham.
So I'm assuming you want to know what a learning path could be. So there are several. So I'll go back to a couple of slides. I hope my screen is still shared.
Yes, it is.
So I'm not, Devi, I'm not sure what your current competency level is. I'm assuming you are at a very beginner level because you're seeking a roadmap. So I would suggest you can get started with Free Code Camp. It's a lovely resource. Then you can practice some of the initial level problems at HackerRank. And once you have some competency in the data structures, algorithms, and programming concepts like dynamic programming, recursion, etc., you can target higher difficulty level problems at, say, CodeChef, Geeks for Geeks, Top Coder. And for video resources, if you want to have a video explainer or course on how certain concepts work, edX, Coursera, Stanford Online are your resources. For data science, Data Camp can be your one-stop shop. It is a lovely resource that has guided tutorials with activities and sample problem statements on data analytics, machine learning, the works. So I can share more detailed roadmaps with you at a later point if that could be useful to the coding club. I would be happy to prepare and share the document where I could have like sample chapter wise or topic wise roadmaps. But I leave that up to the faculty and conveners and organizers of the coding club. If that could be necessary, we could talk about that. But
Yeah, sure.
it is also possible that your conveners and seniors at the coding club would have all these resources in hand because they have gone through the same journey. So I have learned coding quite some time back in 2013-14. I believe that the learning path may have changed a bit. So maybe they can give you more up-to-date resources.
Yeah. So thank you, Sohan. Thank you so much. I would request all students to kindly note down his email ID. Those who are interested in startups or in competitive coding, kindly communicate with him. I'm sure he is ready to help. So thank you so much. I'm not finding any more question in the questions box, but those who are in the panel, if you have any questions, like Anurag is in the panel. I can see other students like Shubham. I believe you are in the panel. People are doing a lot of competitive coding. If you have any questions, otherwise we can proceed with the session. Yes, Anurag or Shubham, do you have any question? Otherwise we can proceed with it. Yes. Yes, Shubham. If you have any question, you may kindly unmute yourself. Kindly unmute yourself.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
go ahead.
So I had one question to you, like if someone is from a non-technical background and he suppose started a startup on data science and may it occur that it may fail. So in that case, what should be the motivation and how should he back up? Means, can you share something?
Let me try and understand your question. Are you saying that what is the motive? What should be our motivation when trying to start a startup, knowing that it may possibly fail? Is that the question?
Means
Or are you
after
saying that what
starting,
should be the motivation to get into data science if you are from a non-technical background? Because I thought that there are two questions.
yeah, means both the questions.
So okay, I'll try and answer both of them separately. So see, the idea is when you come into a field like data science, which is a fairly novel field and esoteric, so to speak, as in it did not have a lot of practice in the earlier days. The idea is that the playing field is fairly level. There is no data science. There will be very few data science experts at your level of understanding and knowledge. So you are starting out from a level playing field. That being said, with the easy advent of online resources, trainings, and sample problem statements, you can get started right away and build up your competitive advantage. So you are, say, a second or a third year student. So that gives you 2 to 3 years of time which you can use to develop your skill set, so that by the time you're ready for the industry, you have a cache of skills that is significantly more valuable than the ones you have right now. That's one. And second is that knowing that your startup has failed, what would be the motivation to start it? I think some of that is definitely like you have to have that mindset that I am kind of okay with figuring out how things are going to work. That it might not work out in one way, but I will have the resilience to figure it out in way 2, 3, 4. Because see, failure is not a binary choice. It's not either or. You either succeed or you fail. The realistic journey in terms of a startup is you don't succeed in way 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you succeed in way 5. So you're not, it's not, it never will it be that you are only trying one thing in one way. You are trying one thing in multiple different approaches because you don't know which one it will work, right? We don't have the capability to predict that. That is why we try multiple things, and whichever one works is the area where we put in our time and effort and resources to expand that. Shubham, does that answer your question?
Yes. So finally, I would like to thank you for sharing your wonderful journey and experiences with us. Your words were really motivating for us.
Well, thank you for having me.
Yeah.
So I will stop my screen share. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Yes. So thank you so much, Soham. It was really a motivating session, and I believe that many students will communicate with you in very near future. Shubham, you may proceed, or Preeti, if you are there, whoever.
Yeah.
Please
Yeah.
proceed.
Next, I would like to request our respected sir, Professor Sandeep Das, to speak a few words.
Thank you, Shubham. It was a nice session by Soham, and I think it will help you all. I just want to congratulate all the conveners and the organizers of the this panel, and also I would like to say that this is a very good initiative that you people have taken. Coding is an essential part not only for the CS engineers but also for the electronics and other department students. So nowadays coding plays a very important role. So it is very essential that everyone knows at least basic coding because it will help to grow for them in near future. And with this, I just want to conclude, and I wish very good luck for this coding um, thing that you have opened, or the coding chapter that you have opened. Wish you very good luck for your future, and I think that you people should play a very inclusive role in near future. Okay, so thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing your motivating words with us. Next, I would like to request Professor Umesh Gundani sir to share few words with us.
Very good morning to all the attendees today, and thank you, Shubham, for giving me a few minutes to talk to the students. And first of all, I'd like to congratulate the entire students group, ACM chapter, and the professors who are the backbone of this coding club. And that's a wonderful initiative, and I think so. Like all the students will be very well enthusiastic about learning about coding and programming, whether he or she may be from an IT or non-IT background. So I've been looking after placements for a long time, and many students come up to me with a query that, sir, I'm from a non-IT background. So what should I do? Should I learn more of programming? Should I learn about coding? So my answer would be a big yes. And in today's world, of course, yes, because knowing coding gives you a distinct advantage over those who don't know it, and you also have a better chance to diversify into more subdomains of engineering, like manufacturing automation, like the construction automation, the controls analysis and tools development, and also in the automobile sector, like automotive vehicle performance validation needs a bit of coding. And even the finite element analysis or the finite element methods, like FEM subject, which is being studied by say electrical engineers, mechanical engineers, civil engineers, by all the core branches of engineering, it needs coding after a certain level of complexity. So by restricting yourself for not learning something, like you're restricting your future options, and there might be a time in your future, yeah, where a thought may come to your mind that I could have learned this timely in my past. So this thought may come to you maybe sooner or later. So you need to assess yourself and you need to take the call. And of course, like you can't learn the entire coding thing, but you can focus on some part of it. So you can focus on some subject related to it. And as a mechanical engineer myself, initially I too thought to stuck around core engineering, but to sustain in this highly competitive market, one must learn coding. And there are very few core engineering positions anymore right now in the market. So with the onset of Industry 4.0, like everything in the near future will be more and more automation driven and demanding employees to be knowledgeable about coding as well as the core knowledge about their subject. And people who are having interdisciplinary skills, they are more valuable to the industry because they are able to understand the complexity of situation, the complexity of system, as well as the interaction between the different things. So with I like to conclude by saying that, like, with coding experience, you will be able to automate routine data analysis tasks, and data analysis is a very important part of many engineering jobs. So I would like to say it's incredibly helpful in many respects to learn coding, and don't let the fear of coding to stop you from learning it. See coding as one of the most powerful tools. So that's all from my end. Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing your valuable words, information, and motivating words with us. Next, I would like to invite Mr. Kaustav Sandal to speak a few words. He is the founder and chief strategist of Imagiminds Cadd and Engineering Solutions. Over to you, Mr. Kaustav.
I'm audible, right?
Yes, Kaustav, I have made you the presenter.
Very
So
good morning,
I
sir.
think good morning. How are you, Kaustav? Things are fine at your end?
I'm fine.
Great, great, great.
I'm fine.
So very nice to see you. You may kindly share your screen if I've made you the presenter.
Yes, I can see. So very good morning to all the participants who have joined this webinar, and very good morning to all the.
Would you like to share? Kaustav, would you like to share your screen? Sorry for the interruption. Your screen is still not shared. If you would like to share any PPT, yeah, now it is fine. Now it is fine. If you have any PPT, then yeah.
No, sir, I have not prepared any PPT or like that. Actually, when Rupan sir approached with me,
okay, no problem. So
he told me
do you
that
like
you can just
Yeah. So do you like your screen to be shared, or you don't?
No, sir. I
Okay.
have not prepared any PPT. I'd like
Okay.
just like to say it verbally.
Okay.
Right. So very
Okay.
good morning. I'm again starting. I hope I'm audible right now properly. Right. Actually, I'm not much familiar with this GoToWebinar, so I'm so sorry if any
You're audible.
inconvenience
You're
is there.
audible. You're audible. Please go ahead.
Right. So I have like I have listened to the earlier speakers, Mr. Soham Banerjee. They were talking about coding. Step by step, I'll come to my point. I'll share my journey. Actually, I don't know much about coding because I'm from a civil engineering background. Right. So I have seen Rupayan sir, Gurnani sir, then a lot of other teachers were also there. So very good morning to all of them before starting with the sessions, and very good opportunity from my side. Actually, I passed out from this college itself. So when Subrah sir actually approached me, I was really glad to hear that. And it's really nice that Bishwa sir is also there, taking time from his precious time. So, I'd like to share my journey then, right? That will be great because I don't know much about coding, but I'll give you some examples how coding is important in our lives. I had been training with this civil engineering softwares, AutoCAD, Revit, StatPro, ETABS and all. So I came across a lot of professionals who have around 30 to 40 years of experience in civil engineering construction as well as design consultancy. So like from last 1 year during this pandemic situation going on, they had been actually taking trainings on this C, C++, Java, and a lot of other coding softwares. Why? Because they have understood that all the market, like everything is going online right now, right? So they have to do, if they have to do anything new in this market, they have to do with coding, right? So if they have understood it little later, we have the opportunity from right now. If we practice coding, all this, I'm not much familiar with the technical terms of this coding. I know a few softwares like C, C++, Java, SQL, .NET, this type of softwares. So it will be great in near future from your side during the like placement point of view, as well as if you want to start something. There was a question from maybe Anurag or some other member of this committee. He asked to Shoham, Mr. Shoham Banerjee, that like if we fail from a non-IT background, if a person from a non-IT background is going for a coding this type of startup, if he fails, so Mr. Soham actually answered it very well. I would like to add some points that you should not have any plan B option if you are going for something, because you have to have that in mind that I have to make it successful in any way or the other, right? That should be the motto, because you can have plan B at later options. In the initial stages, if you'll have plan B, then you cannot proceed to your goal, because that will obstruct you in your mind that I have a plan B. If I fail, I will choose that option, right? So this can be one motivational way, right? Uh, yes. So anything anyone want to ask me something, you can ask me. Like how shall I start with the this journey? Any students want to ask me something, or I shall proceed?
So yeah, you can press there. There is a question in the question box already. Like he says that who wants to grow revenues. Okay, that is a question right now from Sahitya Roy again. So those who are in the panel, you can always like keep it interactive by asking questions. You can unmute yourselves and ask questions.
Fine. So
I
actually, I'm very
will
much
firstly
new to
proceed
this
with a
Go webinar.
question. Oh,
Can anyone
okay, so
tell
I am
me like
asking
how
you a
to open the
question,
chat
Kaustav.
box? I'm so sorry. Yes, sir. Please.
Chat box, like you will not be able to see the chat box. I am you can see the chat box, but the questions panel will not be visible to you because you're not an
Fine.
organizer. But
Okay, sir.
the question is, their question right now was from Sahitya, which I will read it out again for you. But prior to that, I am asking you a question, Kaustav. I will
Yes.
ask you like when you are doing civil engineering, or say you heard Professor Gurnani talking about mechanical engineering and saying that if you are in automobile, then for the small adjustments in automobile, for every small steps that you take nowadays, coding has become important. So I will ask you,
Exactly.
like in your domain of civil engineering, you really did not have to touch coding when you were a student, but nowadays I'm getting to hear from everybody, be it civil engineering, be it mechanical engineering, be it electrical engineering, that coding has become a necessity, that programming a person
Exactly.
must know. So can you just throw a little bit of light, like in your domain, do you ever feel that if you knew programming, so you would have gained this little bit of advantage? Have you ever felt anything like that? If you have felt, if you can share that experience with us, like anywhere you felt that if you knew programming, then it would have helped you in this way to expand your business, the business that you are in right now, your Imagiminds Cadd.
Exactly.
So you are doing good, you are really doing great with your own with your startup. So anywhere you felt like if you
Thank
knew
you very much.
programming, then it would have helped you?
Right, sir, exactly. So I'll share it from the beginning. Actually, you told I'm from civil engineering, obviously. So every student from civil engineering, at the student life, they have this concept. What will I do with this C++, Java, all this programming softwares? What will I do? I'll become a civil engineer. I'll construct house. I'll do infrastructure works. I'll build roads. What will I do? We have this concept from our childhood, right? So I'll start from the beginning itself. When I took admission in UEM Jaipur, so I selected my subject as EC, Electronics and Communication Engineering. Right? So we have this advantage in IEM UEM group that you can change your subject after 1 year. Maybe in a lot of other colleges, some percentage basis option is there, but we had that option. So after 1 year of my engineering career, I did C and this Java, not Java, C a little bit. We professors used to give us even extra classes because we are not much good at coding. I didn't take computer science in my class 12 also. So Rupan sir was there. A lot of other professors were also there who used to give us night lectures so that we can be at least pass the subject, right? So that time we didn't understand what is the necessity of coding. At first year of my college, I thought coding is not my cup of tea. I cannot do anything with electronics and communication engineering, so I have to leave this subject. I was actually thinking of my way to come out of this electronics and communication. So I never loved coding. But when I used to take this, this tuition classes, kind of, no colleges in West Bengal I have seen giving tuition lectures to students after the college is over. So we got a lot of supports from teachers, the professors who were there, but we thought, yeah, it's not our cup of tea. So we went to civil engineering, then we completely got detached from coding, right? But from when I like during the placement time also, I'd like to share the people who actually knew the softwares, people from electronics and communication, CSC, electrical engineering, they actually, TCS came and took 60% of the students. So 60% of the students from UEM Jaipur's first batch got placed in TCS. And a lot of other companies, Capgemini, Tech Mahindra also came, they also took. So there we understood what was the need of coding, because we couldn't even know the basics, right? And people who actually got the basics of coding, they actually cracked the interview over there, right? So 70% of the batch of 2012 to 16, IT companies like Capgemini, TCS, and Tech Mahindra, they got placed. Now we were thinking, yeah, we are civil engineers. Obviously, college has arranged some core companies for us, right? So we actually, a lot of companies were there. We got opportunities. Like there were students who got opportunities for 15 companies also. Couldn't get selected maybe because of his merit, but later got placed, right? So I also got a core job. I went to Nasik, but there, because of some water scarcity, construction work was not going on. So we were asked for hold, right? But there was, we were student at that time, 2016, we just passed out. We thought we'll go to Kolkata. I left that job and I came to Kolkata. There I understand the proper situation, like what I'm doing over here. I'm literally like in lot of motivational speeches you might have heard, like I had been going to Bangalore distributing CVs in lot of offices like that. In lot of motivational videos you'll hear, right? I exactly did the same with one of my friend, Joyanto Viswas. We were from civil engineering department also. So we both started going to Salt Lake Sector 5. We started looking for companies where we could drop our CV. Then we realized that for the time being, we have to move to any IT company because we are jobless that time. So back in our mind, we are thinking like if we can do anything coding kind of thing, so that at least we can, talk to our training and placement officers. Maybe for the next placement time, we can also get, at least an opportunity in that companies where students are actually placed, right? Because we are jobless at that time, right? So then what happened? We thought approaching to Wipro. People call it a consultant company, but that time in our mind, as students, we used to say it's a call center. We didn't knew about Wipro Technologies where engineers are like being hired as like 60-70,000 they are getting. We actually had in our mind that in Wipro, people are going for call center work. They are getting 12 to 15,000 salary. So we also went over there. So they told we are not hiring civil engineers. Mechanical engineers are there, electrical are there, a lot of other technical background core departments are there, but civil we are not hiring. So I then that day only I had to take a job because I told my mom that I got a job already. So I had to go to a like a call center. Later I understood. So the post was a web consultant, right? I have to be a consultant of a website company. Later on, when I approached to the interview, I understood it's a sales job. I have to be a telecaller wherein I have to sell websites like ACO, then SMO, Google keywords, and we have to call to the Canada people, UK people. It's a call center kind of thing. Mane pati banglaয় যেটা বলে. So I understood like what I got, but still I have to do something, right? So I started working over there. There was day shift and night shift also. So I worked over there for at least 6 months, right? So I got some experience on sales. But before to that, I was very much unaware of sales. So there, some experience which I gained from my college, from Shushmita ma'am, Professor Shushmita ma'am. Other professors are also there. We used to have this spoken English classes, right, which is called as soft skill. So this actually helped me a lot, wherein I was I got education from a like it was a ICSE board school, but we didn't used to speak much in English. We only used to speak in English in cultural fests and all. So I was not a very good speaker, and I was very shy in college time also. I was not much spoken, not very good speaker. So that was actually in my mind that maybe I was not able to speak properly, or maybe I was not able to convince my clients properly. But that these sessions which I used to get from my colleges in the first year and second year, maybe a lot of students who have joined this webinar, they are not attending the sessions when these soft skill classes are going on. but this will actually help you out a lot, the soft skill sessions, right? Yeah, so I'll move on. Yes, anyone?
Kindly unmute yourselves. Hello. Yes, somebody has kept it unmuted. Kindly mute yourself. Sorry. Saitya, kindly mute yourself. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr.
Anyone
Kaustav
wants to ask
Sandal.
something?
I will just ask, I will just check the chat box or the questions box rather. Okay, in the questions box, like somebody has asked, like Shubham Singh, he asks, sir, as you have talked about, see, what I could understand from your entire talk, Kaustav, that you went to a company where you started your job, but then that company, due to shortage of water, construction in that company for that company had stopped. So at that point of time, you felt like that you had to, so what you decided was you did not wait for the company to resume its services. You came back to your hometown, and then you were looking for IT jobs because you felt that that is the domain where jobs are available at the moment.
Exactly.
So you were really thinking that at that time, if you knew programming, it would have helped. So so good enough, a good motivational story for the people to learn, to start thinking about learning programming. Though you should focus on your core sector. If you are from civil background, you're from electrical background, you're from mechanical background, you should think of like you should focus on your coding
Exactly. So I'm
in a
going to
core
share
sector.
that.
But programming should also
I'm
be
also going to
important.
share that.
Yes.
Yes,
So the
exactly,
question I
sir.
will read from Shubham. Shubham has a question in that sector only. His question is pertinent to this, is related to this only. He asks, sir, but as a core engineer, people feel that it is quite difficult to start learning programming. So how to start, like as a non-IT engineer, please show us some way through which we can start. So do you have an answer to that, Kaustav?
Okay, yes, I'll answer. Shubham, from which background you are in? Like from which department you are in?
Actually,
Is he
Shubham
from
has
a
somehow
like core department?
the problem is Shubham has gone offline. Like somehow he has lost his network and has
Okay.
gone offline.
Okay, no issues. I'll answer to the question. Maybe Shubham's friend can share. So see, there is nothing as such like I'm from a non-IT background. I cannot learn programming. If you want to learn something, you have to learn it anyway or the other, right? If you are not good at something, you have to practice it much more, right? Like when you started learning calculus at class 11, we are not much good at calculus, right? But we have to practice it very hard because we had that in our mind. We have to crack the joint entrance exam, right? So you have to learn it like that. We have to take it in mind that I have to learn this subject. So you have to start learning like that only. And like if you can take it as a motivation, like if I start learning from now, once I succeed, I'll be getting a very bright future. So obviously that can be a very good motivation, right? So I hope I have answered to Shubham's question.
Yes, yes, you did.
Yes. So I'll move to the next. Yes.
I don't find any other questions. There was a question from Sahitya, but I feel that has been answered.
I'll continue with the journey I was sharing.
Yes, yes, please continue.
Right. So that was a sales company. I actually gained some experience in sales. So after getting some experience in sales, I actually acquired some money. I was actually looking to take some training in my core engineering field. So that too in software field. So there I actually researched about what were the softwares that I could actually learn. So in civil engineering, we have AutoCAD, Revit, 3D Max, StatPro, lot of other softwares are there for drawing and designing options, right? So I researched about that. So I got an institution in Bhubaneswar. It's known as Central Tool Room and Training Center. They have a branch in this Bonohugli area. A lot of people are much familiar with MSME, right? That's a tool room, it is called. So I went over there, I took admission. I took training on 6 softwares. So there, the entire scenario was different. I understood about automation. I understood about like what are the necessity of coding in this market, right? So I took training on the civil engineering softwares, and I took a job as an intern in a design consultancy firm over in Bhubaneswar. So I was working over there as a design consultant as well as a part-time faculty. I was working in CTTC Bhubaneswar. So from there, I actually got the idea that I could start with this program. I could start with a training institute wherein we can actually train students. We can train students from a different approach. So I took a job offer in Kolkata in a training institute. EduCadd, it was named. So it was in Ravindra Sadan area. So I was like working as a training instructor. I was training students. Though during my college days, when my mother used to say like, would you like to start your career as a teacher or something like that? I used to actually hate the profession, frankly speaking. But sometimes you have to do that thing only. So I started with teaching over there, and later I loved teaching. Right, I was there over 1 year. I started actually researching about the market. What I have to do if I want to start with a training institute. And actually, I'll be very frank. I did I viewed a lot of motivational speeches. There are a lot of web series also, like Teachers and all. So in that web series or the motivational speeches, what people actually went through. So I have seen that. Actually, I'm sharing my journey. That's why I'm saying all this. Maybe a lot of students might feel bored, but still I'm sharing, because in those motivational videos or web series, the things that are shown, those are actual, those happens in actual life. So after this 1 year of career, I got investors. I started with the training institute in Shialla Moulali locally. Then I actually did a joint venture with Cadd Point Engineering Solutions, which is based in Chennai. It's an international organization. So all over West Bengal, the students, those who are going to take training through Cadd Point or through Imagiminds Cadd, we are going to take care. Now we take care like entire East Zone because it's a online situation right now. We give online classes. Right, so that was actually the journey. So I started from EduCadd. Now EduCadd, they were actually giving us competition. We were there in market for from 2019, and it's from 2018, and it's 21. Right, so in this 2 years, we have actually acquired the market of EduCadd, as well as Cadd Center was there, which was running for 27 years. So EduCadd, the position, the place where EduCadd was there, they left that place. Cadd Center, they left the franchisee. So there were around 16 to 17 institutes. A lot of them got closed because we actually acquired the market. After 1 year of our Cadd Point running in Kolkata, we got calls from Chennai office that there are a lot of calls coming from other institutes over Kolkata. They are actually complaining against Cadd Point that they are doing illegal things. They are giving fake certificates and all, because actually we have captured the market. Even I got a call from CIEM College HOD because Cadd Center actually complained that Cadd Point is a fake institute. If you coordinate with us, if you cooperate with us, we'll actually complain it to the head office. So that was our achievement. We call it as achievement because if you are, famous, people will be against you. So that is our journey from me being a mediocre college student to this strategist as in Cadd Point, and being the founder member. So that was all. If all of you would like to ask something, any of you would like to ask something, you can ask me.
Kaustav, what I can make out is like you did repent your decision of coming back from the company which had to stop its construction midway because of water shortage, but that decision ultimately turned in your favor. So now you are thanking that decision, might be because now you are the founder of a company, you are a chief strategist in another company, I'm sure. So you are thanking your decision at that time which you thought that was not a good decision at that point of time. But that is how it goes. You need a little bit of luck in entrepreneurship, that is sure. In fact, in all phases of life you need a little bit of luck. But then luck is not everything. It is something you need to be very focused. You need to be you need to really stick on to your wills. So then only you can actually make a way for yourself. So it was really a good what should I say, good sharing of experience from your side. So those who are wanting to be entrepreneurs, please take a note of this. Okay, so thank you. What could have been better? We started this we started today's session with somebody who is into hardcore coding, and then with somebody who is not into coding, but says that yes, coding definitely helps. And if you are if you know coding, then it definitely helps you in all fields, whether it is civil or mechanical or whatever. I will check for a question. It is there in the questions box. Anurag Kumar asks you, he is from civil engineering, I believe. Anurag, what are the courses or the ways by which we can start as beginners in learning IT, being from civil engineering? So Anurag asks that he is from civil engineering, but he is open-minded. He wants to learn the programming and be in IT sector if needed. So where from will he start? Or courses or the ways, if you can show him, tell him.
Right. There are a few softwares. If you are from civil engineering background, you want to go to this IT sector, you can learn design softwares. I already told AutoCAD, Revit, StatPro. Then a lot of design softwares like ETABS, Midas, those are there. So you can, get a white collar job, which is a office job, a design job, wherein you'll be going to office from Monday to Friday. You'll be, getting a holiday on Saturday and Sunday. But actually core engineers do not have holidays on Saturdays and Sundays. So you'll be getting this type of job if you would be, learning this softwares. So I can share with Anurag. I have Anurag's number. Anurag will share to you. Anurag Chatterjee. Anurag Chatterjee's number I have, I'll share. So, sir, I'd like to add a few more points. I already had a word with Anurag that we are also planning to move to IT sectors, because I have understood, like from beginning only, I have understood we have to also move to IT sector, like training with C, C++, Java, and other softwares also. So if the students chapter that they have opened, ACM coding chapter, that inaugural section we all are actually participating, if they want to expand it and they want some capitation help, they want to grow it larger, they want to think about the finance sector from this, then Cadd Point is going to be a partner, and we can start it jointly. We can start with training these softwares, like we have this in list. A lot of other coding softwares are also there.
So what more, Anurag, Subham, Sahitya, and others who are there in the panel, I can see, Preeti, what more to say? Like Kaustav has already said that you can expand it. And I believe, Anurag, your idea is like when you are starting this, you are wanting to help those who are non-coders, like those who already code, there is no point helping them. You understand? Na? They will do for themselves. So our idea is to help those who are non-coders, to help them code. So what better if these Cadd points help us, then definitely we can expand it to those people who are from non-IT background. And definitely,
Yes,
Kaustav, we will talk on this very soon. In fact, after this webinar is over, maybe I can call you and have a
Sure,
meeting
sir.
with you
Sure.
personally. Okay, so I'm sure that the students have understood that they are going to gain benefit out of this. I request all members, be it from CSE, be it from ECE, be it from mechanical, civil, electrical, or even from MBA, whatever, BBA, doesn't matter, BCA, you please be part of this coding club. I'm sure that they will organize occasional events, they will organize occasional competitions and help you learn programming. So when you pass out of the university, all of you should be good programmers. That is the idea. All of you, irrespective of your stream, all of you should be good programmers. After that, if you want to be in your field, if you want to do civil, you do civil. If you want to be electrical, do electrical. But keep coding as a skill. Keep it as a skill, basic skill that you need. So okay, so Kaustav, if you have anything more to add, otherwise I will request Anurag to proceed with the next part of this session. Kaustav, if do you have anything more to add?
Yes,
Okay.
I'll just add the ending lines. So so being students or being fourth year students, you should be job ready. I have a lot of times heard this from Vishwajoy sir himself. That time I was not that much intelligent that what job ready means, but I have actually understood it during this entire field. So job ready means you should have multiple options. I have told that you should not have plan B, but that will be at some stage in near future, like when you are starting something new. But being students, when you pass out from college, you should be job ready. So you should have multiple options so that you can apply for IT company, you can apply for core engineering company, you can apply for marketing company, you can apply for sales company. All these options should be open because when you return from Jaipur, you should have a job, right? In any sector, be it a coding sector, be it a sales sector or marketing sector. So for the people from core engineering background, I would say you are in second year or maybe first year students also have joined this webinar. So they have to learn it from now itself because in third year and fourth year, you have to learn core software. So if you will be having the knowledge of coding or this IT softwares, you'll be getting placed in at least any of the companies. You'll have multiple options in your hand. So that will be like my ending note. If anyone would like to ask me something, you can again add
People have
in chat
requested for
box
your
or
email ID. People have requested for your email ID. So your email ID, if you can kindly tell me,
I'll share
Kaustav,
my
I will
email
write
ID
it.
with Anurag sir.
If you can
Okay, I will
kindly
share.
tell me, I will share it. I will share it in the questions box. Everybody will get it. It's Kaustav something. Kaustav, your email ID.
Cost of catpoint@gmail.com. That's a Gmail ID actually.
Okay, so just a minute. Let me share your Gmail ID itself. So Kaustav, K-O-U-S-T-A-V, Kaustav.
TAV.
Okay.
Yes.
T-A-V. Okay.
Then cat point.
K-O-U-S. Na? Okay. Then
Right.
C-A-D-D.
KOUSTAV. No, sir.
C-A-D-D.
CADPOINT.
Oh, you don't have the D.
CADPOINT.
CADPOINT. Okay. catpoint@gmail.com. Okay. So I've shared it.
Right.
Everybody, please look at your questions box. I'm sure that you will get it. Okay. So just a minute. Let me again write it.
So it's
Please allow
shared.
me.
I could see.
Okay, it's shared. Yes. No, it's wrongly shared. There is some mistake. Sorry, very sorry. Okay, I have shared with you now. There was a mistake. I could not check it. At the last moment there was some technical glitch. Now you find it. The last one. I'm sure you get the last one. That is the email ID. So you can write to him directly. Okay, thank you, Kaustav. And Anurag or Preeti, you may kindly take over and from
Thank you
here
very
again.
much.
Thank you.
it's a nice opportunity, and
Thank
I'm
you,
really
Mr. Kaustav
feeling
Sandal,
glad that
for
you
sharing
guys
your
have
journey.
started.
It was really nice.
Thank you.
Yeah. So it was very nice and motivating one. Okay. Thank you, Dada. Thank you. So
Thank you.
now I would like to invite Professor. Yeah. So now I would like to invite Professor Subrah Chakraborty, sir, who is the HOD of Civil Department, to say some few words.
Yes. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Am I audible?
You're audible.
Yes, sir.
Audible. You're audible.
Okay, so it's a fantastic effort from the student. I would just like to point out a few points from my background actually. See, nowadays it's a totally game-changing scenario actually. If you talk about civil engineering, I will just add 2 points over here. One is the structural health. You know, a topic is there, structural health. How to find out the health of the structure at the real time, at the present moment, right? That is, if a bridge is in Bombay or it's in Kolkata, sitting at Jaipur, I can monitor the internal health, whether any damage is having at the steel or any fatigue is having in the steel. I can monitor all these things. Okay, so this is today's world, the remote monitoring aspect. This is one point. Okay, and I will tell you in a very brief manner. I'm not a expert in this field, but all these terms that machine learning, AI, and all these things, as far as I have gathered few knowledge, it is about everything about data. You are training a machine with some data, maybe for the past 1 decade, 10 years of data, so that it is not making the same mistakes. Okay, and the simulation can be done prior to the construction. That is the main aim of this AI and ML in my structural department. Okay, and one more thing what I would like to point out is, in 21st century it's all about smart work, right? So what is smart work? You have to predict. See, building a house, even a diploma student is capable of building a house. Okay, but as a B.Tech engineer or as a structural designer, what you need to do, you need to predict the life of a structure. Now, what is prediction? For prediction, you need data. Okay, so you need to train the data, you need to feed the data in some softwares. Okay, so this is the basics of AI. So there are 2 points which I have raised, that is prediction of life of a civil engineering structure, and one more point is remote health monitoring of the structure. And believe me, students, you are very young. Believe me, in the next coming decade, these two fields are going to be the game changing in the industry of civil engineering. And one more thing I would like to point out, that see, any civil engineering project, it incurs huge cost, maybe in crores. Okay, like those who are from Kolkata, you know that underwater metro was going on since 2010. I used to visit the site because my dad was a part of the project. Underwater metro tunneling under the river Ganga. Okay, so see, it incurs huge cost. So why not we simulate the thing in some software, or why not we can gather data about the tunneling, what are the difficulties we may face during the boarding machine under the river Ganga, and then we can go for the actual construction. Okay, so all these things requires data, and once it is data, it becomes the field of maybe data science, big data, AI, machine learning. Okay, so see, I would just like to point out that these are not only for the computer science engineering student. That no, I am not from a CSE department, so I will not go for the coding and all these things. Okay, these are just techniques. Like from, see, I am talking in very basics because I just want to stress on this fact that, like Microsoft Word, MS Office, MS Excel, these are all the tools which all of us use. Okay, so like this only, Python in coming days, Python, MATLAB, these are going to be the tools for the engineers, irrespective of your department, irrespective of your background. Because Python and MATLAB, if I'm not wrong, these are the basic fundamentals uh, to just venture into the wonderful world of artificial intelligence or machine learning. Okay, so just think of engineering as a whole, because to for a 100 crore project, you need engineers from each and every department. Like Burj Khalifa project, all of you know Burj Khalifa in Dubai, and there are many other multi-million-dollar projects in Dubai. Okay, so do you think that it has been built only by the B.Tech civil engineers or B.Tech, I mean, or other department? It's the combined effort of engineering sense. Okay, so it is all about the interblending of every department if you have to sustain in today's world. So it's a wonderful effort by the student. And yes, coding, don't think that coding lab or computer lab is only for the computer engineering student. This is the game changing, and this is going to be the future of the engineering, not of any discipline. It's the future of engineering, that every stream needs to work together for a wonderful finishing of any project. Thank you. That's from my side.
Thank you, sir. Your words means a lot to us. Thank you. So now I would like to invite our third speaker, Mr. Jyotirmoy Saha, who is the co-founder and managing director of a very successful startup, Teknesya Network. Over to you.
Mute. You're muted.
Yeah, you're not audible.
Sorry. Thank you for the introduction, and please let me share my screen first. I think it is visible, right?
It's visible.
Okay. So hello everyone, very good morning to you. Hope you all are doing very well. Let me tell you my story first. In my graduation days, I was a very active member of UEM Jaipur ACM Student Chapter. From a regular member to being a chairman of the ACM club, it was a great experience for me. And now I'm feeling very happy to see my juniors taking the legacy of UEM Jaipur ACM Student Chapter far more than we imagined. Thanks to juniors and the faculty members for that. Now let's move to today's topic, that is coding and entrepreneurship. The business environment becomes more and more digital, and companies need to adjust to it. Coding is a skill that traditionally most IT employees will admire, but maybe not think of as one of the to develop for themselves, due to the fact that it is hard to develop and it needs time. Not knowing code could take entrepreneurs at a disadvantage. If you are running a website or app or selling online, understanding code is a necessity. If you have a large amount of customer data you want to analyze online, you will also need code. Inside a tech startup, you are either a coder or a sales marketing person. Anyone who thinks they are the ideas guy or anything like general manager or something is just a dead weight. Today, software drives businesses, and so if an organization wants to excel, it needs to become a software-powered juggernaut. To achieve this, companies are able to gain a competitive advantage by the speed, quality, and efficiency of software releases. But it can't be done without skilled development teams that are supported by strong and fluent coders. Code creates the foundation that developers build upon and create with. Without it, there would be no structure. When I think of the basic skill any organization from startup to large enterprise must have within its rank, it's the ability to write code that meets rapidly changing software needs with the speed and the scale. Coding is its own language, and it's no longer just the language of tech. It's a language of all business. So here are 7 reasons why entrepreneurs should learn to code program for their businesses. First one is build relation with your tech team. Businesses need to build a great team when they're developing their product pipeline. Specifically, if having a motivated tech team will assist you in realize your business objective faster. As an entrepreneur, learning how to code will help you understand your tech team and help them manage and schedule projects effectively. Taking off your coat as a boss and learning to create computer programs can also enable you to plan well for the important resources required in product development, such as capital and time. It will also help you to appreciate the timeline within which your team can build a realistic product for the target market. An entrepreneur who has learned how to create applications is in a better position to empathize with the tech team and appreciate the struggle they face. This improves teamwork and enhances productivity. And second, tackle the scarcity of resources. While starting a business, most entrepreneurs face challenges in relation to the availability of resources. Therefore, to ensure that they get the venture off the ground, they are forced to get their hands dirty. Business owners should learn to code to help their tech team manage projects within the deadlines and to boost workmanship, since many hands make work light. And for instance, an entrepreneur who has web development knowledge can develop or make changes to his or her website without necessarily interacting his team's work or schedules. And the third one is evaluate human resources effectively. Without any clue about technology or coding, it becomes very difficult to determine whether the people you are considering to join your company as a technical team have sufficient expertise in the field. To ensure that you make the most of the team, you should evaluate the availability talent based on your understanding of computer programming. This will help you to position your business for success based on the human resource choices you make. You can identify good talent, their strengths and weaknesses, and place them in the areas their skill are best suited. And the fourth one is enhanced informed decision making. While you might have the best tech team to work with, they will always turn to you for certain decisions to be made. This means that you need to speak their tech language if you seek to make informed choices. Familiarizing yourself with the tech ecosystem plays a huge role in running a company, and learning programming language gives you the necessary leverage to escalate your business growth. And the fifth one is sharpen your critical thinking. Successful entrepreneurship requires developing running strategies, and critical thinking is necessary to facilitate proper and sound resolution in making decisions. Especially for startups, learning to code helps entrepreneurs to sharpen their thinking and stay alert to logically offer problem solving approaches. Programming teaches you how to solve complex problems by dividing them into bits and pieces. If entrepreneurs learn to create program, they can devise ways of breaking down gigantic business problem into smaller fragments that can easily be solved. Coding boosts your critical thinking and helps you stay grounded when making decisions, even when the business is operating under pressure. And the sixth one is boost your creativity. Understanding technology and learning how to code will greatly boost your creative juices. With increased level of thinking, you are better placed to come up with the innovative strategies for your businesses that will help in providing solution for your company's pain points. And learning how to communicate using a computer language will expose you to better ways of accomplishing business tasks. And as a new technology is developed, you will be better placed to understand how you can leverage such technologies for your business. With increased creativity and confidence, you will have a competitive edge in your niche, which would propel you to grow your business to unimaginable heights. And the last one is save cost. Startups usually aim to reduce business costs as much as possible, even as they strive to break into the market. Established businesses are also keen on keeping their cost to the minimum if they are to enjoy business gain. Paying a developer or a chief technical officer for their services can be too costly for companies. Therefore, it is advisable for entrepreneurs to learn how to code so that they can chip in where necessary rather than hiring the services of a costly tech expert. For example, when you need a website for your startup, instead of paying someone, you can use your coding skill to build one yourself and use the saved cost in expanding other areas of your business. Now next, move to forward. What can be done by learning how to code? Learning to code allows you to pass to a higher level on three key pillars of a company management and to know innovation, the human being, and the execution. The innovation. First one will widen your vision to acquire knowledge of the main informatics languages used by today's startup will incite you to understand the avant-gardist technologies and to project yourself into the future and see more opportunities by dividing into learning or of unknown universes or by embracing new concept of reflection. You will, it will sharpen your capacity to see things under a new angle and to see paths which the others do not see. And like as entrepreneurs, we have constantly 100 ideas which come into our head. When you have the capacity to think as a developer in your creative playground, your ideas can only get bigger and richer. The human being, detection of young talents, basically having learned to code, you will finally know how to read between the lines of collaborators and the candidates, challenge them on some languages, projects, issues they face, and to understand their reason for being and their first motivation. Understand the developers you will meet or work with. Is their goals to take up challenges, learn constantly, or are they creating the perfect code, etc. Trust and goodwill by having a commitment and the time to understand a completely new universe for you to accept it deep within you. Quite naturally, your relation and exchanges with the woman or man of art will be more genuine and really fascinating. And the last one is positive leadership. Understanding the stakes and computing challenges will make a no longer a blinded manager by the technology, but an enlightened leader because you will have a clear understanding of the terrain, of time or of the discipline commended code understandable by other developer or of the command or and for the doctrine. Have a clear unity of thought and a technical discipline in the technical biases held there. And the last pillar will be the execution. Acute decision making by understanding the technologies, you will have acquired a better knowledge of the cost of certain decision on a financial, temporal, or human point of view, and also opportunities of a ground gain further to certain decision or of technological depth and endangered potential. And the second one is critical analysis. Understanding new language will naturally allow you to take part in a new circles of thought and to no longer be excluded from subjects which in the past would have seemed minor or trivial to you, while in reality can be critical concerning the future of your project. And master the time by having coding even if only a few weeks and brought to a successful conclusion a single project or with a team. You will thus know that something seemingly simple can hide numerous technical problems or opportunities, you can say, potentially additional stages, and in the end extend your deadlines considerably. Having the control of the time in the innovation on the ground of competitive space will make you become a master in the art of execution. So programming for entrepreneurs is an essential tool, as we all understand. It helps you to develop logic, refine critical thinking skills, plan accurately, and complete tasks. For any technical demands beyond your capabilities, it allows you to make more informed decisions and more reasonable demands when negotiating with other developers, will ultimately save your time and unnecessary headaches from frauds overcharging for simple tasks. There is a certain skill set required for a technical co-founder for startup, and it evolves over time. Obviously, an understanding of coding fundamental is a part of it. Mastering basic coding will prove imperative at some point down the line, so the need to get ahead of the curve is equally important. So the on the ending note, all I can say you is coding clubs ensure that you learn programming the fun way and not consider it as a subject beyond your reach. It adds a sports feel to programming, and that's exactly what you need to enjoy. And once you start getting the adrenaline rush every time you see a problem statement to code, you know you are strong enough for a programming person. Active participation in coding clubs makes sure that your individual and teamwork skills improve significantly. Once you have practiced for days judiciously, your college placement don't matter much, because the skill attained have opened up a whole new world of possibilities for you. Thank you.
Jyotirmoy, I will look for a few questions.
Sure, sir.
Okay. So I request the panel to ask questions, if any. I have a question like, you are doing your startup, you are successful in your startup called Teknesya. Yes. And at the same time, you are also contributing in UEM Jaipur development, like you are very much a part of UEM Jaipur, and you are helping the students with their industry projects. You are mentoring them for projects to make it more short and simple. So my question to you is like, what should be the target points of this coding club? If you can kindly tell, like, what are the activities this coding club should take up to really help the students? Because my idea is, the motive is to help the students. All students learn programming before they pass out. They must learn, whatever stream they belong to, doesn't matter. They must learn programming a little bit, not in great details, but in little bit programming skills they should have. So please focus on the activities that the coding club should take up, so that that idea is fulfilled.
Correct. Like in my, as I think of an coding club, basically a coding club doesn't mean that you need to do programming all of the time. You in there at that coding club. The coding club is all about teamwork and programming itself. So at first, you all need, like who the members are coding club, you all need to become a full-fledged team who can develop or who can compete against each other, and who can develop together software or anything you want to like learn or enjoy building. Being a member of coding club, you need to engage yourself in activities like coding competitions and basic teamworks, like teamworks type of things, and more basically the thing that will define a coding club, like good or bad, the members participation as like the participations of all members as actively. I would like to request you all to join join coding club, and make it succeed as like we want to see it as a success.
Okay, so I will request you over here that you and the members who are there in the panel today, the students, Preeti, Anurag, Sahitya, Shubham, and other people are there in the same batch. Like I know Divya, I forgot the name of the other student. Somehow it's not coming to my mind at the moment. All of you can actually togetherly, if you can guide the students to form a total activity chart of the coding club for the coming 1 year, which will help the students to learn programming. And if you
Sure.
can set up a target, like by the same date, that is the 24th of July 2022, our target is, say, 200 students to be skillful in programming, 250 students to be skillful in programming. If you can set up a target like that and fix up a year-long schedule, then definitely this programming club will be very, very helpful for the coming 1 year, and then forward it can take a leap. So thank you so much, Jyotirmoy, for your wonderful, short and sweet and simple presentation. I will request Preeti to take over again and maybe proceed with the sessions.
Thank you, Mr. Jyotirmoy Saha, for your wonderful session, basically into us coding importance. So now I would like to request Professor Dr. Preeti Sharma Madam to speak something.
Thank you, Preeti. A very good, hello, am I audible?
You're audible, but not visible, madam.
Am I audible? Anyways, a big congratulations to all the students and the faculties. Hello.
You are
Madam, you are
audible,
audible.
but you are not visible. You're audible, but your webcam is
I
not
don't
on.
know.
If you okay, then you can continue. Then you can
Sir, it is
continue.
on from my side.
Please continue. Please continue. Please continue.
A big congratulations to all the students and the faculties who have taken such a great initiative of starting this coding club. And I am from a management background, and though I am learning all these codings, all the artificial intelligence, IoT thing to cope up with all these upcoming new topics. So I just want to say that coding should not be only precise with programming and learning the coding and all. What I personally believe, once you are there in the club, you will be learning lot of things apart from coding, which is very important as a student and as a when you enter any industry. Say for example, when you will be joining this club, you will be very creative. You will be having very great ideas whereby you will be sharing those ideas. Another very important thing is you will be learning how to solve the problems. Rather than creating the problems, you will be telling students to solve the problem. And the most important, as what Jyotirmoy said, team building, like teamwork, which is most important for any student and for any organization. Here I can see a very strong team of students and a very strong team of faculties, which will definitely guide you to achieve all your target, not only on 24th July 2022, as what sir said, but yes, even before that, you will achieve all your targets. You are such a strong team. So all the best to all the students and the faculties, and y'all will definitely outshine before the set dates. Thank you very much. Thank you, Preeti, for giving me the opportunity of speaking. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much for your motivational speech. So now I would like to call our Honorable Dean Sir, Professor Dr. Aniruddha Mukherjee, to speak something.
Hello. I hope I'm visible and audible.
Yes, you're visible and audible.
A very good morning, and it's a wonderful day that such an event has been organized. Well, the coding club has been formed at UEM Jaipur. I really congratulate from the core of my heart to all the students that made this possible, to all the teachers for their valuable support to make this possible. I just want to add one thing. As I had a considerable time spent with the industry after I passed out from my from graduation. So one thing that remains to be said that I often tell my students that in an industry, when it comes to the point of application, there is no such thin line that separates in discipline from another with the other. I mean, there is no such demarcation where you can say that this is where the mechanical engineering ends and this is where civil engineering starts. It's all about integration of all sciences. So when it comes to coding, being an electrical engineer, I strongly feel it is very pertinent to understand the essence of coding, because without that, it becomes literally impossible for us anything. I mean, it's a PLCs, SCADA, everything. It depends on coding. So I really, I really support and congratulate once again to all the students for their grand initiative and wish them all the best. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for your motivational speech. Now, I would like to invite our Honorable Provost, Sir, Professor Dr. Pradeep Kumar Sharma, to speak something.
A very good morning to all. I hope I am audible.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. A very good morning, and congratulations to all the participants over here and all the officers of the club. Shobhan and Anurag, Preeti and Soham Banerjee, all the members over here. You have done a remarkable job. First of all, you need to understand the objective of your club and what you need to do. I must point out only 2 points here. You must understand that coding is important. Definitely, coding is important, but you are facing 2 challenges right here. First challenge is how to make coding popular in all other streams students, so that they can take up it as, you can say, a necessity for industry 4.0. You can understand that in industry 4.0, cyber physical systems will be there, and engineers from every stream will be doing work over there, and every person definitely will look into the digital platforms. So it will be a challenge for you to how to make it popular amongst all those. Second challenge will be like coding definitely is there, but second challenge will be how to make things society, you can say, benefit to the society, beneficial to the society. Always think about it, and definitely it's a good initiative you have taken. You have established a club. Definitely you will learn the managerial skills, and you all know the coding skills. But these are the 2 challenges what I have said. If you do a certain kind of work, so that, as VC sir has already told, if 250 students being trained in a definite period of time, definitely it's a good initiative by you people, and the success of your club will be there. Once again, congratulations. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for your motivational speech. This is really meant to us. So now, finally, I request Shubham Gaurishariya to start his thanks for voting session.
Thank you so much, Preeti, for giving me this opportunity. It's a matter of pride for me that I am proposing a vote of thanks for the inauguration ceremony. I would like to show my hearty gratitude to all the speakers for sharing their graceful words with us in the today's inauguration ceremony. I would also like to thank our Honorable Vice Chancellor Sir, Professor Dr. Biswajoy Chatterjee, Honorable Dean Sir, Professor Dr. Aniruddha Mukherjee, Honorable Registrar Sir, Professor Dr. Pradeep Sharma Sir, Honorable Sir Professor Dr. Minal Kantri Murmu, Professor Rupan Das, Professor Sovik Bal Sir, and all the faculty members of the Department of Computer Science and all the other respected HODs. I am also thankful to all the participants for coming here and attending the inauguration event. And I would also like to request each one of you to join this coding club, come forward and share all your knowledge and skills, and also take the benefits from this club by learning, sharing, and also participating in various hackathons, clubs, and also upcoming events. Thank you so much.
So I would like to thank